What up? What up? What up? What up? Good evening, people. Peace and blessings, square praise and honor to the Most High. I hope all is well. Friday, right around the corner. Shout outs to my poets, writers, content creators, authors, parents, uncles, nieces, nephews, aunts, cousins, grandparents. Much love to everybody. I want to say thank you, and I want to humble myself and tell you that it is a privilege and honor to be here with you guys this evening. You see the title. We got to talk. This is a tragic event. I'm just gonna do what I typically do in these cases and give my honest opinions and perspective. Before I play anything, because I do have a clip that I want to bring up here. Max, I see you in the studio. Give me just a second. I want to give a moment of silence for Kohen Wiley, the family, and the community. With that being said, let me bring him up. Good evening, bro.
Good evening. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Count my blessings. How about yourself?
I'm good. It's been busy. My apologies to everyone here where I've been in and out and having signal problems. It's been a scheduling conflict, unfortunately. But we find new rhythms as time goes on. A lot has happened, so it's a lot of good stuff. Just let's just say organizing is a skill.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sorry about the loss here. I'm not sure who you were talking about.
Yeah. So the clip that I left in the calendar is separate from the clip that I'm going to play.
Mm.
The clip that I'm going to play is from the mother's mouth herself. The clip from the studio is basically giving a breakdown of what happened. There was a shoplifting incident. Uh, it wasn't shoplifting, but it ended up turning into a 1 year old losing their life in the process.
Oh.
Yeah. So what I'm going to play is her giving her side, and then we can kind of just go from there. But
Gotcha.
Marcus Keith, Belicia Wiley. Valencia Wiley lost her son to the negligence of law enforcement in Senatobia, Mississippi. Can you please tell what happened?
It was me, my son, and another friend of mine who was at Walmart. As we was leaving after Walmart, they tried to stop her, but I kept walking because it had nothing to do with me. By the time me and my baby got in the car, she came, and then when we was backing up, they was running out the come. I raised my baby up because they withdrew their gun. She had no tent. I raised my baby up trying to show them that he was in the car. So she was backing up and she hit a car as I was opening the door, so the door flew back in. By the time I sat my baby down, it was like 3 to 4 shots. One of the shots hit him in his rib cage, and the other shots hit her in her arm and her thigh. And we left and went to Senatobia Hospital where he was pronounced dead at the scene. And they told me I wasn't gonna be able to see him until he get back from Jackson. She got airlifted, and the police told me I couldn't leave out the hospital until somewhere they had. I couldn't leave out, couldn't nobody come in. But I ended up walking out, and the crowd was questioning them, asking them what happened. It was like she was shoplifting, but the passenger, it was me. They wasn't talking about me. They was talking about the driver. But on the little what's it called, self checkout, they can see, it's cameras, they can see when she got the diapers and walked out. But yeah, they tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side and she was driving towards the left. They just they just personally just shot in the car.
Did they try to charge you with anything?
No, they didn't charge me. They ain't charged me with nothing. They just let me go. They didn't say nothing. They just kept telling the crowd that they were shoplifting. They were shoplifting. But I don't know if they found anything because it's nothing found.
Okay.
Yeah, so to add just a little more to that, the officer that fired the fatal shots had already held a history of being impartial and being racist, and there was nothing done about the behavior even prior to this. So just to give a little more identity to this, uh your initial take on the story, on her testimony.
I'm a little confused about. First of all, I'm sorry for anyone losing a child or anybody, especially a baby. That's just wild. I'm not fully understanding. I'm taking that she was backing out and they made a point to chase her down and they shot into her car based on the fact that she was supposedly shoplifting and they ended up killing the child. Is that what happened?
Yep.
Wow. You know, I get usually numb to the fact that cops doing wild, stupid stuff because it's been something I keep seeing on the news since I was like at least 14 years old. And I think it started with Trayvon Martin. And up to this day, people talk about the situation. It only brings frustration when I end up in the topics when it comes to cops who don't know how to chill and not know how to, be self-controlled because, for lack of a better word, because it doesn't do anything for me to be like passionate in it. Not because I don't care, but because it's like it's not solving to me. I don't know if I lost hope in something, but it's just like, why are you going Grand Theft Auto on a situation like that? Like, I'm assuming she wasn't running necessarily; they just stopped her, but I guess she resisted. But you could have cuffed her, and it didn't have to resort to shooting. At the very least, into the car. Like, what are you shoplifting? It's not like she robbed the bank, bro. And now you killed a child over God knows what. I don't know what goes through the minds of cops in general. I can't imagine what cops be doing, but what they got to deal with. But it's just there's immunity in areas that don't need to be that don't need immunity either. You're letting guys get away with a lot of stuff, and you're making room for the devil to have influence on guys too, because now you leave no room for accountability. And when you don't have a cap on anything, that's how you lose order around here. That's why you have one extreme or the other when it comes to politics, because no one is finding a sweet spot. You either on the devil's side or you're on God's side, and no one knows um how to properly interpret that now, because it's what's good is now bad and what's bad is now good, and that's biblical. I don't care what anyone says. There's something that people are not reading right. I say this gently, but it's frustrating. Like, when people were talking about defunding the police back then, I believe that there's a way of doing that without allowing yourself to become hostile. Because I had people come at me because I was trying to give them a constructive criticism. Like, make sure that you make it clear what you mean by that, because sometimes politicians take things literally. So when you just say defund the police, they're just going to get rid of the whole police department, and that's not what you want either. You're talking about demilitarizing it, but that's not specific in the general statement that is being presented in media. And I had people come at me because I tried to, steer them in the direction that would just help them, but instead they want to be heated. I'm like, how do you think guys got where they got back in the day? Being hostile didn't do nothing like that. Apparently, people told me that riots eventually took over, but and that's what did it. It was crazy, but from my understanding, like the leaders, like MLK and Malcolm X, I know Malcolm X believed in fighting back in the same or similar manner, but I have a feeling that it didn't have to go to a hostile leverage, because that doesn't completely work either. I know I went off into a tangent, but
No, you fine.
that's what I got. Yeah.
The sad part about all of it to me is just prophetic. Not in the sense that it said word for word that this was going to happen, but it did say word for word that we were going to see lawlessness and folks turning away from right and wrong and reversing it.
Yeah.
To benefit, their own selfish and disastrous desires.
Yeah.
The gentleman, and I made a post shortly before this saying, when you have a history on any job, good or bad, it's going to follow you wherever you go. And based on the history, that's how, as a manager, supervisor, you need to know exactly how you're going to handle your employees, your staff, how you're going to run your operation so that it's covered, you're covered, your brand is covered, your employees are covered, your customers and whoever is working aside you, they're going to be protected. You have to make sure that things are operating in unison, because when things are out of order, it costs money, it costs time. People get injured, people can get hurt. this man already had history for moving funny against black people. So why wasn't anything done when you already knew that this had the potential to grow into something more?
Yeah, it goes back to a mindset that hasn't fully changed. Sorry, were you going to say more?
I was the only just like on my initial thoughts that part partially, and then shoplifting. You really pursue someone over shoplifting, pursue them.
It's a petty theft.
Like
That's a petty crime.
Yeah, I don't care if she had an attitude, got smart with you, or any of that. But to pull your gun out, pulling your gun out should be the last resort.
Yeah,
I always thought you did that in situations where it was life or death. This was nowhere near that. I don't care if she got loud with you or any of that. You're a grown man. That's a whole woman. If she assaulted you, you what? You couldn't put cuffs on her, subdue. You can't subdue that little woman. Like just stealing, and then it wasn't even legit. She didn't steal anything.
Wow.
So a part of me feels like he did this for other arterial motives, and now that community is pissed, as rightfully so they should. And this woman is without a kid.
Yeah, it becomes an excuse to just do anything. I remember on the news there was like a black teenager that got shot by a house owner with a shotgun, I believe. And the guy was quoted saying, more or less, one less black person in the world or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh, like, bro, how does that mentality happen? Like, I don't know how that even started. How did people who look like us just became public enemy number one out by default? Like, I don't understand how that happens. I wonder if it's like an envious thing, because it's like, are you envious of something? Like, are you mad at God about something? That you're not happy with yourself or something? Like, I don't know. I mean, racism happens from everywhere just because of how people behave. Like, I remember I've been watching reaction videos of A Different World, right? And they made a good point. They talked about the mammy from back in the day. And in the behind the scenes, they explain how what people don't realize, that black people tend to look at each other a certain way as well without realizing. That is not just, white people being like that. Because if you look at the cast, Kimberly Reese and Jasmine Guy are completely different complexions of the same race. Jasmine's lighter, Kimberly's darker, and they made point like we need to have dark chocolate skinned girls. I remember Debbie Allen talking about how she wanted to have at least one girl like that because you weren't diverse in that color of rainbow in that show yet. And that episode tackles something where it's like people who are dark skinned, like very dark tan complexion, are the ones that are defaultly depicted as the stereotypes from back in the day, especially man. Lighter skin tends to get a leeway. A good number of the cast is like a mix of both. And it's like the racism thing goes down very deep. I can only pray that this dude is held accountable, because this is not a day and age where you can get away with that anymore, especially after George Floyd's guy got put to jail at the very least for a good amount of years. Um, like, just don't let it slide. I don't know what's becoming of those things anymore because the news is just too toxic to watch. But I just pray that the family gets justice, rightfully, godly so, and that they're able to find peace in Christ in the meantime. Because, and this is not to downplay the crime in the world. It's just the world is so bad. It's like, bro, you can only ask Jesus to help you get through stuff and look forward to the end of the line, because life is bugging. Life is a gift, but it can become a messy because we have choices, you know. So that's all I think of right now. You got something else? I don't want
It's exhausting. I know I'm exhausted, but I know it's not. I know it's not going to stop.
to.
Matter of fact, like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but prepare for things to get more intense. It's more than just a physical battle that we face. It's definitely spiritual. And you can't control the actions of adults or children who choose the rebellion over obedience, or falling under a system that's actually set up to protect you.
Yeah.
Like, once you made up in your mind that you want to do what you want to do out here, and you ain't going to listen to nobody. Don't matter if you got this much power or that much. You put the right people in the right positions in any circumstances, and their heart ain't right. This is typically what you get. And I'm disappointed in the justice system, the police department, Walmart, and anybody that had a known history with this particular officer, or just police in general, understanding that they historically have gotten away with so much of this before and is never addressed. And it has to take something extreme for people to care about it. But then in the flip side, it's like, well, to be honest with you, the real change ain't gonna come until Jesus returns.
No.
You know?
And yeah. I saw a clip. My mom was watching this. It was of Billy Graham. He said something in a sermon from years ago. He was older at this point, that I never realized. He said, there's not going to be an end of the world. There's going to be an end of an age, which means the way the world works now will eventually end, because the world is not going to just disappear or anything like that. It's going to be redefined. It's going to be ruled by a different spiritual being. Right now, the devil has a hold on the world. He is the one that's allowed to run the way the world is. Spiritually, God is over everything. But right now, Satan has some control over the world like that. The day will come where Satan does not have that influence. Anything that is against the Bible, anything that's against the Word of God, his principles, his laws, his guidance, all that will be eventually wiped out when Jesus comes back. It's going to be a new world, a new heaven, and a new earth for a reason. So that means that there's not going to be an end of the world. It's just going to be the end of how life is as we know it in general, not just because technology changes, but because of the spiritual influence, the mindsets that occur. If people, allow yourselves to pay attention, and you'll see what we're talking about. Just don't wait. Don't wait for his return to believe anything, because then that's not faith. Wanting to see in order to believe is not how faith works. The point of faith is to believe what you cannot see. What you allow you. That's why they say people want to believe what they want to believe. People want to see what they want to see, because it depends on what kind of eyes are you wearing. And I understand that a lot. I know a lot of people come from pain. A lot of people come from things that made them very confused, and they just want to be like, I just want to be at peace with how I accept myself. I'm not saying, and don't ever think that I'm not telling you to not accept yourself, but take a minute to consider certain things about yourself that may not be okay in the long run. Not as it doesn't mean lose yourself as a person, but refine yourself. Everyone talks about being a better version of yourself. Be a better version of yourself in who you choose to believe in, spiritually wise. And you'll see a difference. You'll come off as different to people, but your personality will still change. It's just your core values might change, and it comes at a cost like anything else, but it'll be worth it in the long run if you allow Christ to have influence on you, and not whatever the world, whatever society decides to tell you. And by society, I mean the modern day stuff too. Take a little bit, take influence from a little bit of everything, and you'll come to a common ground about what will really matter.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And that's an individual walk that people got to take. But in order for you to do that, you have to separate yourself from the pack. And a lot of our identities are interwoven with other people.
Yeah.
So when I look at this officer, he's a part of something else, something bigger than just him. There was a verse, I was just reading it, I believe it was yesterday, where Jesus was talking about how he's the door, and the sheep know him as shepherd, and I'm just paraphrasing. His sheep knows him by his name. The hiresmen, they don't have faith, or they don't care about the sheep that they think. The sheep that the hiresmen have are not their sheep, but they think that it's their sheep. And the second things go wrong, the hiresman leaves you to the wolves when the wolves come. So it's like, all right, you can just tell based on how people live their lives and how they treat others, where they kind of stand. And it's sad. It's very sad. I hate it. I hate seeing the picture. I hate that this is even a story. And I don't hate people. I strongly dislike what the enemy has successfully been able to do in so many folks. And I don't know if they necessarily know or realize or comprehend it, but I definitely agree with what you said. I do send my prayers up and my condolences. If there's any type of leniency, slap on the wrist, if this man somehow manages to get out of this, I don't know how the people are going to respond or take that. Because Rick Chow got away with murder, and that has gotten ugly. People are abandoning businesses and everything off of it. So I don't know. Imagine Trayvon Martin's killer got off. He didn't get away with it though. He's suffering. He's out in the street. He's homeless. He's going through it.
So he
But
got fired, but he wasn't put in jail.
Right. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you with the whole, like, you see this stuff so much, you kind of get, I don't want to say I got used to it, but I got used to it.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I think your original term was right. Like, it's just exhausting. It's like this again. Like, not because you're like you don't care, but it's just like what, like why are you still letting that happen? Like, I like, forgive me if I'm interrupting. I just
No, you good.
like what are they waiting to see happen? Like usually people have a sense of common sense, but I guess it's not. Obviously, common sense doesn't come to everybody. Like, if you're letting cops get away with stuff, you're opening the floodgates for a lot of problems. You're asking for the apocalypse. You're asking for the kind of stuff that happens in The Walking Dead, which is basically the whole metaphor of the show, if you pay attention to it. Some people could just dismiss it as demonic, but I think like it makes a point in the beginning of it that like the structure becomes gone, and now you creating that without minus the zombies involved or walkers. Like, I know that it's part of the dark side of prophecy in the Bible because a lot of stuff just gets loose, and it's just, I don't understand why people feel that that's okay. Even though I know it's a spiritual influence, but I know that not everyone's going to comprehend that part because it just doesn't click all the time, and that's not necessarily their fault. It's just, sometimes everyone's upbringing is different, but like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know what government officials, I don't know what higher ups gain from it. Eventually, it's like, I guess I think it's just a version of lust that just you don't realize it until you hit a mark. Like, even Thanos, Infinity Wars was so good at it. Like, he was so lustful. Lustful doesn't have to always be sexual, but he was so focused, so fixated on getting these rings, not rings, but the stones, not that stones, that to the point that like once he got what he wanted and he just went like this, he realized how empty it was. Even the next movie felt like depleted to me, to where I think his daughter or something showed up like, did you get what you want? He's like, yeah. And she's like, is it worth it? He says no. Like, that's where you're headed. I know
I
I
think
spoiled an ending or something, but it was like, I remember that ending being so like, wow.
To be honest, I think we've been there, and maybe not with like this case specifically, but I know I can testify for myself. I've been thirsty for certain stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I made plays to get it, but it wasn't even everything that I thought it was going to be. So you just left with this. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
And it all stems from being uneducated, not just book smart, but having that personal relationship with your inner self and with the creator who puts that air in your lungs on a 24-hour basis. It keeps that heart at a specific rhythm.
Sorry, what?
When you cut God out of your life, these are things that you tend to run into. The only thing that I can think of, there are people that should not have positions of power. I've said that 1,000 times. I keep saying it. Everybody should not have a badge. Everybody should not be a firefighter. Everybody should not be an entertainer. Everybody shouldn't do this, be a counselor. It's just not for everyone. You don't have the anointing, you don't have the calling, you have the gift of gab. Like you can have the gift, but not have the anointing.
That's profound right there.
Like think about it. You can be exceptional at something, but it means it can still be fruitless because let's say you are better at spreading the word, but you have the anointing on you, whereas I just know how to vocalize. People are going to hear us both, but they're going to recognize the truth in you because of the anointing you got on you, the presence. It's, one person has God in them, the other person has a version of it. It doesn't work that way. And that's how many get fooled and confused with who they should listen to, what they should consume. So just because you want to be a cop, that don't mean you should be. Just because you got the stamina to stay up 12-hour shifts and all that, that don't mean you should be trying to unify or fix issues in traffic or at a store or a restaurant. You probably don't have the patience for it or the heart to be able to be compassionate towards people. You might be impartial to one race over another. Like there's just too many reasons why some people just need to stay in their lane, but I digress.
Yeah. Man, like being a cop is a mental strength too. You had to have a stable mind for that. You had to have a sober mind for that. And sober don't always mean non-alcoholic. It means in every sense of the word. Like that's a biblical statement too. Like being sober minded is essential. That's not everyone's meant to be like certain things, but everyone's meant to be something. Like, um like this is not to put praise on him, but if you think of like MJ, since he's like the talk of the town nowadays with the movie out, like he was an example of someone who was like he was tortured by the evils of the industry and still managed to keep some of his sanity for the most part. Um, he had but he showed that he was still very insecure. Um, but he had good heart. He did not seek attention for the wrong reasons. And for the good stuff that he did, he never got proper publicity for it. It comes out years later. Like he was like, I don't know if this man was Christian, I can't say, but looking at some people look back like he had a very Christian attitude for the most part about how he went about things because you know I know he became a follower of Christ before he died, which is good news. I remember reading that at that time when he died. Niles was coming out through one of the producers he worked with. But like, if you look at his track record, him and Sade had the habit of like going to the limelight and then trying to like hide a little bit. But one was able to do it more better than the other. Like people like to have someone to worship that unfortunately isn't Jesus. But like, and he's a perfect example of that. Like everyone sees him as a saint and he did things that would make him out to be that. Like he literally was the most chillest dude you could ever work or talk to or just hang out with. He was a big kid at heart. I can relate to that. I'm a big kid at heart, despite how monotone I probably sound right now to the audience. But like, you know, he did things like, he made mad money and he gave away so much to charities that I don't even think most people even bother to touch anymore. Like, I don't know if it's just because it's something that doesn't get broadcasted. It's like, the news only has to talk about negative stuff that they can make up just because. Like, even with the movies, they're like, oh, are they going to depict? Literally, newscasters are asking people who were part of the movie, are they going to depict the accusation scenes? Like, that's literally all they cared about. I'm just like, my man's is more than that. If this was any other artist, you wouldn't be asking this question. Elvis did a lot of shady stuff. I love his music, but I know he had his shadiness at times. Granted, he comes from a generation where adolescent and adult and what's considered adult was transitioning, but nonetheless, like, people make excuses for one and not the other. And it's like, like even people do that with God. If God is so good, why is there evil in the world? Because we, like anything else, you're gonna have good and bad. Like the reason why stuff like this happens, not because God is evil and he just lets stuff happen for the heck of it. It's because when people describe him as a perfect father, and I want people to hear this, it means that he's the perfect depiction of what a parent is supposed to be like, but on a spiritual level. A good parent, a good father or mother, but in this case, a father, will teach you things, guide you, give you their instruction on life. If you're a child in your parents' house, they tell you the rules of the house. God is the same thing, right? I know people say, "Oh, he has all these rules," but think about it. A good parent will do that, and he can help you out a million times over. But there'll be times where he will let you fall on your face. He will let you risk that. And so, if you look at the world as his children, he's gonna let people fall on their face and do what they're gonna do. They have the choice to come back to him. If he controls everything, then he's a dictator. So if people get upset about that, I'm sorry that you get upset, but think about it. A good parent will let you try. If you get coddled, then we're just mama's boys and daddy's little boys and girls. Like we become the stereotype that's a turnoff. Think about it. Think about it in those terms. That's why. And it's not to excuse it. This stuff is annoying that this still happens. Like, have you learned nothing? This is already beyond frustrating. It's like, have you learned nothing? That's why stories like the prodigal son exist. You go off, try what you feel you need to do. And if you feel called back to come back home, in this case would be God, Jesus, the door is always open. A good parent will still let you back in the house if you are at your hardship to the T and you have no place to go. If they're still around and they're good, they will love you no matter what. God is the same thing. He's just almighty. That's the thing. That's the biggest difference if you look at it. So take it like that. People are making their choices. They still choose to hire people and not care about background, not care about the fact that brothers are going to go off, and they're not choosing to be smart about their screenings. So, so pick your poison.
Yeah. Can nobody do that job? I wouldn't even try. I've tried to wrap my mind around how someone could be so patient and give so much grace, considering you've been witnessing this for thousands and thousands of years. There's nothing new to you, but you still stay the same way every day and judge fairly, while we just imperfect, judgy, and everything in between. And we don't always get it right at 10 years old, 20 years old. It might take you to your deathbed. You might get it right away. Everybody is different. This brother here, he ain't getting it. Don't seem like he does anyway. And that's a problem. And like my final remarks on this whole situation is, as tragic and unfortunate as these events are, it does create a conversation, one that can't be ignored by that community out there. You're going to have to address it. Because if you don't, then what? Who can you run to? What you going to say? Who you going to point the fingers at moving forward? Either you do something now or don't complain. Don't let this young man's life be in vain. He's definitely in a better place. You still got time here. I mean, God is still giving us a little more. Figure out what you want to do, how you want to honor your son, and how y'all want to move forward with your that jurisdiction that you're in, and how they treat y'all out there. I mean, even just globally, this is an issue everywhere. This shouldn't just be a conversation for that location specifically, but what are y'all gonna do? It goes deeper than just the child. This is about you as well, your community and everybody else. So officers are supposed to be professionally trained. You are not supposed, like, you put me in this type of a condition. I know I can't be trigger happy. I can't let my anger and my temper get the best of me. I know I have to be a mediator. You are an ambassador. So to me, like, you know better automatically. When I think officers, EMT, nurses, doctors, you guys are supposed to be at a certain level with your gift where communication and knowing how to deal with people, you're supposed to already be locked in with that. Unless you allow something in your heart to corrupt it, then change the way that you move and treat people. And if that's the case, which I think it is, may God bless us, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. All I say is God bless. Pray that everyone just comes to Christ and just gives comfort to those that need it right now. Give people peace. It's all I can say. I don't know why I sound like a broken record as whoever's watching this half the time, but it's true. It becomes more evident as time goes on. So our generation is fairly crucial. I mean, everyone said pastors are always like, it's the last days. It's been the last days for a minute, but I noticed that since the destructions of 9/11 have occurred, a lot of stuff has been like substantially different in so many ways that I can't even comprehend it. So I'm just saying, days are coming near, man, and I'm just saying, we pray that this dude gets put away. They fix whatever they got to fix in Missouri, because I don't know what it's like to live in the South anymore. But if y'all don't change soon, you're gonna become your own worst enemies. So that's all I can say. Those are my final remarks. I'm so sorry for the one woman who lost her baby. That is a horrible thing to happen, and on top of that, just being targeted over a false accusation too is just insane. So I just pray she gets all the justice that she needs, because there are no words.
Hey, look, I thank you for pulling up.
No problem.
Blessings to everybody who pulled up in the chat, wherever you watch it from. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Happy Friday. Just in case I don't get to say it to you, enjoy your weekends. And till next time.
Push the subscribe button, brother.